All right. Hello and welcome to Card Shop Insiders, a podcast where we combine decades of experience from both sides of the counter to take you inside the business of local game stores and collectible gaming hobbies. I'm Noah and I play games, lots of them.
Hi, I'm John. I'm a 26-year veteran of the industry and owner of a card shop.
Well, John, with our combined perspectives, we're ready to jump inside. So why don't we jump over to the news and check out what we found to talk about this week in our news section. Do you have a preference where we start?
I don't care.
All right. Well, let's start with our off-topic gaming tangential news. You like my words?
Yeah.
Tangential.
Yeah. What the hell does that mean, tangential?
Like shooting off to the side.
Oh, okay.
It's a tangent.
Gotcha.
It's of or like a tangent. I know.
Just
Should we keep going?
Just get on with
It's all cool when John wants to teach me something, but I can't teach John something.
You noticed the shirts,
Yeah.
right?
Basketball season has started, and we will remind Duke once again that we are the greatest.
You know,
Actually, we play Kansas on Friday. We're going to find out if we're good or not.
last night they played Elon,
I saw.
and they only beat him by, 90 to 76 or something?
Yeah, they beat him by almost 20.
But they gave up a lot of points, and
Yeah, they didn't look
UB was not happy from what I read.
I wouldn't have been good and happy. I wasn't happy watching it.
Yeah.
It was average.
Duke rolled. I mean, they weren't exceptional,
I mean,
but they rolled.
Duke also played the Commonwealth Community College of
Well,
Southern Alabama.
I'm not going to disparage anybody. Is Elon any better?
I mean, Elon's actually a Division I school.
Are they any better? That was my question.
I mean, they clearly were. They scored more points. They were better. They played well.
They played well is because UNC wasn't that good.
Podcast.
Wasn't that good, maybe?
We'll go back to our sports podcast later, folks. All right. Pokemon fan turns $400 card into a holiday and an engagement ring. That was one of our off-topic news finds this week. I found this one in, thegamer.com. $8,000 profit off a $400 Pokemon card. Any idea how he pulled that off?
No, go ahead.
Well, he bought an ungraded or raw $400 Japanese, I think, Pokemon single, Gengar VMAX, and then he sent it in to get graded, and he got it back with a special Black Label 10 rating, which meant that it was now worth more than $8,000, and he sold it on eBay for the increased value.
Wow.
And made all the money.
That's great. I wonder if somebody has a graded card that's expensive, do they risk sending it through the mail? I know you can't, isn't the thing is you can't insure it for that's actual value because it's only cardboard and it's, the insurance companies would fight back on it. I'm not sure exactly.
I mean, when you've sold it, though, you've got value.
When you sold it, you have value. But what would happen if you sent that $400 card in the mail and it got destroyed or, got lost or something?
Like before it gets to Beckett or whatever?
Right.
Or whoever graded it.
I had one Yu-Gi-Oh guy one time. He sold a $15,000 Yu-Gi-Oh card. He flew wherever the hell it was going to go, and he brought it firsthand to the guy, and he got his money at that time.
Yeah.
I think he got a deposit to pay for his travel or whatever, but he didn't trust it, being sent through the mail or UPS or something. So he hand delivered it.
I mean, I think that's a very valid position to take. I thought it was interesting. It brings up a topic for a future video about card grading. You and I have talked a little bit about it before, maybe privately, but I thought we could throw that into the podcast at some point and talk about what both of us know about that and our experiences or opinions. Other issue, we don't talk about Flesh and Blood or Flesh and Blood News, but they had their third world championship, and a guy named Kowalski from Europe won the third championships here. They were in Osaka, Japan. And his giant check says he got $100,000 gold.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if he actually.
Well, I know they throw money at.
Oh, he did. He got $100,000, a champion's prize card, a PTI, and a gold foil legendary black envelope. The second place person got $25,000.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Flesh and Blood, like I said once before, did pretty well in the store. And then they came out with a couple of bad sets, and we started losing some participation. And now I just pulled it off the shelf. I sold everything I had to somebody to come in and you want it all? Here, this is what I'm going to sell it to you at. And I got rid of it. But
Yeah.
it's a good game. It was a good game, and it's segmented. That's the problem. Some areas do well with it. Some areas just don't do well with it.
Texas.
Texas.
Texas. That's all you gotta say. Um, we have major audio delay.
What do you mean major audio delay?
I can hear the audio.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's way behind. All right, let's talk Yu-Gi-Oh news. You put a couple things into the Yu-Gi-Oh news. You want to tell us what's getting released in the next week or two?
Yeah, actually, what's coming up, it just came in yesterday, is the Quarter Century Bonanza set.
Okay.
Which is kind of like the Rarities Collection 3, but they call it Quarter Century Bonanza. And it came in yesterday, and I could sell it starting tomorrow night. And it's not going to be cheap. I think it's $8 a pack. I haven't priced it yet, but it's $8 a pack. It's the same as I, priced the Rarities 2 one. And then we're supposed to have a celebration event on Sunday. I signed up for it, and Konami is going to be sending some mats, and they haven't arrived yet. The winner of the event on Sunday will receive a mat and a door prize or dice roll, depending on how many people I have, will get the other mat.
Cool.
Yeah, and it requires them to buy 3 packs. I think there's a set price of $18 for the 3 packs, plus tax. That's what Konami dictates. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see how many we get.
All right. I mean, people go kind of crazy for playmats, so that's pretty cool.
They do. But again, they're coming out with too much stuff. It's set fatigue.
Yeah.
Setting in. And I've heard it from all kinds of gamers, from different, Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon and everything else. They just complain, especially this time of the year. They're going to have to start saving money for Christmas.
It's hard.
You going to buy me a Christmas present this year?
I'll think about it.
Oh, God. It fell. See?
I know, the ghosts of Christmas past.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
All right, let's talk about ghosts. Let's talk about One Piece, because you can't find it, so it must be a ghost.
Oh, ranting and raving time.
We're back on the rant and rave, folks.
Oh, man. And I have proof because I sent them a nice... I found out Bandai's... what the hell do they call themselves? This is their organized play division. And somebody had given me their email because evidently filling out that questionnaire didn't get it to the right person. So they sent me this information. And I wrote them a nice email and complained to them and told them what was happening. I said, I'm just not getting the product from my distributor. I ordered all 6 of the decks and they came out 2 weeks ago. And I was told by my distributor, I wasn't going to get any. And we're supposed to run a deck tournament on the 9th. I said, I just assume cancel it. However, they already sent me the pre-release kit for it. So if people come in with a deck, I don't care if they buy it someplace else. It doesn't matter. Most of them did anyway, because you can only get it online.
Mm-hmm.
So when they come in, we'll still play it. We'll still go over it. However, after all my ranting and raving with them, and I was nice, I wasn't, nasty or anything like this. And their return email to me is, thank you for your email. We're very sorry to hear about the issues you've experienced with receiving product to support your players. Unfortunately, if your distributor does not have the product available to provide to your store, then our options are limited in this instance. We would encourage you to continue liaisoning with your distributor to see if the situation changes in the near future. We sincerely apologize for any disappointment or inconvenience and are actively working on methods to ensure that all stores receive sufficient, timely allocation to support their player base. We hope this answers your inquiry. Please let us know if you have any further questions or concerns. So that's BS.
Buzz off.
It's...
We're really sorry that your distributor gave all their stuff to somebody else.
Yeah.
Good
Again,
luck.
I had to order some product online through eBay yesterday or Sunday night
Yeah.
from this distributor that I've been getting product from.
Yeah. Your best friend.
Yeah. And he had 811 sold of this particular set. So now he's got 814 because I bought three of them.
Hmm.
And, it's like $20 or $30 more per box by buying it from him, other than getting it from the distributor. Plus, I have to pay sales tax on it. So invariably, I have to turn around and charge the player or the customer more for the pack because I'm not giving that stuff away.
Yeah.
It's not prudent. And I'm going to leave this on the counter. And if anybody says anything, I'm going to say, look, I complain. This is what's happening. And it frosts my butt a little bit because when you set up these events, you put in your requested distributor. Okay, they ask you,
Yeah.
are you willing to purchase from? And there's two distributors for One Piece, Alliance Games and GTS. So I always put in Alliance Games because I don't have an account with GTS. And you think if you would schedule their events and they posted on their website, I'm talking about Bandai's website, that they would make sure that we had the product in order to run the event. We're getting the promo stuff from Bandai. They're sending it direct to us now, which
Yeah.
is good. But the product's not there. It's not available to us. So what do? You just throw up your hands. I could just read up this paper and say, the hell with it. I'll just do the best I can.
Well,
No more ranting or raving about them.
Well, we'll rant and rave about them again, I'm sure, in the future. They'll come up with a new way to invoke your ire. But
No.
let's talk about sales problems and pre-sales and jump across to the different game of Pokemon TCG. So there's been some big announcements in the last couple of weeks. Pokemon TCG announced the release of Prismatic Evolutions, which is going to be it's not a traditional set. It's one of their special sets that only has ETB products and then the sealed poster packs and sticker packs and stuff like that. But it features like the most popular Pokemon line in the history of the game, Eevee and the Evolutions. And it has basically broken the internet. There are multiple people that sell these cards that have said that they are like way over on their demand. One prominent YouTuber that sells Pokemon cards had commented that he put up some pre-sales for this stuff. I think he sold like 300 and some in pre-sale.
Mm-hmm.
And then like kind of had a little bit of a panic and was like, wait a second, I got to make sure I'm going to get more before I sell more. So he paused all his sales on his website and he contacted Peach State and Southern Hobby. And as of last night, he posted a new update video. They've responded and they said they have no idea how much they're going to be able to sell them, and good luck.
So they'll take any more pre-orders.
Right. So he's not taking more pre-orders. But
now you told me yesterday in an off-the-camera discussion that this guy did not even have a store. Is that correct?
I think he sells on the internet out of his garage.
Now, I wonder how he got an account, because when you're dealing with these distributors, you have to send pictures of your store. You have to, you have to attest that you are a store, and you have to send in your sales tax ID, copy of it, and so forth and so on. And I'm just curious, how he's doing it and why he's getting so much, because of the most recent set that's coming out, the Surging Sparks, I was only allocated 4 booster boxes and 2 ETBs. I don't even know, what's going to happen with this other thing you're talking about. It's coming out in January. There's no information yet.
Yeah.
Should be interesting.
I mean, I think one of the things that you see when you look up the stuff online about Pokemon in particular is that there may be a little bit of a distinction for them between being a play store, like an organized play participating store, and being a retailer. Like they don't seem to have a limitation on being a retailer, and he's a retailer. He sells Pokemon cards on the
But in
interwebs.
order to get from a distributor, you're supposed to have a store front. Unless they've changed that policy, but I'm almost positive.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I think they may have changed some of that policy.
I'll check it. I have 2
You
great
have
sales
distributors,
reps.
yeah.
I have 2 great sales reps, one with each one of the companies, and I'll ask them next time I talk to them. What's the policy? I don't want to screw this guy over, but he's getting so much. It's just like this guy that's getting back to One Piece. He's getting so much product. I mean, he has a store though. It's up in Connecticut. I understand that, but it's still a normal number of cases that he's getting.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, on the Southern Hobbies current application for a business account, they have a section in here where you are a seller on your own website. There's a category that they offer as type of account.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
They must have just changed it then.
Brick and mortar, breakers, mall kiosks, local event vendor, Amazon, eBay, own website, or other. And are you a member of any of the organized play communities?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So I guess they're
evolving with the times.
It's well, no, not evolving. It's the Wild West out there. They're opening up to anybody and everybody.
They're taking money where they get money.
That's exactly what they're doing.
And that's how these folks get high distributions, is they're spending a ton of money. I mean, I think yesterday he had numbers up on the screen. I think he spent like $60,000, like pre-sale product is what like he was talking about having already sold.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, he has no overhead to speak of. He's selling out of his garage or his basement or his back room of his house.
Yeah.
The only, he's probably selling it at a reduced price and making a couple of dollars, per item.
Let's see. He sold $42,463 in pre-sales.
Unbelievable.
Like, that number's huge.
It is.
And he stopped selling.
I wonder what his...
Anyway.
Yeah.
I guess that's not the main topic for today, but the point is, Prismatic Evolutions is coming out in January, and it's already selling out on multiple online retailers. Additional news from Pokemon that we can cover today. The Pokemon TCG Pocket video online telephone game has set like records over the last week in sales. It had $1.5 million in sales on the first day, and it had $12 million over 4 days.
Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me go back to the conversation we had previously about the likelihood that digital TCGs are going to become more prominent. These companies like this, what's the overhead for them? Paying like programmers to keep the game going and paying some design people to come up with ideas for events and stuff like that. But the cards have some unique art, so they've got the same overhead that they're paying for the game already, but they're not having to print the cards.
It's true. And they're probably getting them AI generated. I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either. I mean, I don't have a problem with them AI generating like text and abilities and things like that either. Who knows? I just think it's crazy. I mean, $12 million.
I wonder how this is going to impact brick and mortar stores.
Well, I wonder how it's going to impact the hobby as a whole, because
Right.
Pokemon, we've talked about, is one of the biggest games, one of the biggest IPs, one of the biggest products in the TCG space. And it's played or it's purchased a lot by people that don't even play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Kids collect and trade and deal with these cards at school and keep their binders and boxes and whatever in their backpacks. Like, now you've got this opportunity to do it on your phone. It's arguably cheaper to some degree, but it's also not cheaper. I don't know.
I don't know what the future is.
$10 for 10 packs, man.
Yeah, I don't know what the future is going to bring to the hobby industry in a whole.
I mean, it's interesting because there's value, I think, to being together in the space, but this makes it a new angle and something new and interesting. So,
there's going to be no social interaction face to face. Any interaction is going to be on the internet or whatever.
They do the Pokemon video game championships face to face. You sit at the same table and play on consoles. Let's talk about another interesting change in the world of gaming and things. Have you seen, or have we already talked about the Pokemon vending machines?
No.
So several grocery stores have been noted to have replaced their red box kiosks with Pokemon vending machines that are stocked with individual booster packs, and ETBs. They're only owned by the Pokemon Company International.
Wow.
I looked it up to try to get one because I'm like, heck, we could put one of those in Food Lion, right? No, only TCPI gets to own them. And if you think that there's a location near you that might benefit from having one of these great machines bestowed upon them, you can send them a suggestion and they'll reach out and negotiate.
I wonder how this is going to affect the big box stores. It sounds like they're taking it away from the third party distributors and not putting them in the like the Walmarts or the Targets and stuff like that. That's what it sounds like.
It doesn't sound like they're not doing anything to me. It sounds like they're doing something new.
They're doing something new.
Who knows where they'll put it?
But if you think in the future, it's probably going to eliminate something else that's maybe it's costing them money.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or they're greedy and they want all the money.
I think they want all the money. That's all I got for Pokemon today. Let's jump over to fan favorite Magic. I had some major disappointment in the world yesterday.
Why is that? Yesterday or the day before?
Yesterday. Marvel Secret Lair.
I thought it was the day before.
No,
that was yesterday morning.
It was yesterday in the morning. It was a long day yesterday. Yeah. So Secret Lair Marvel came out at noon Eastern time, 9 a.m. Pacific, and it immediately, well, it didn't immediately. It disappointingly crashed their website.
And that's happened several times with different products.
When it came back up, it was sold out in the U.S.
Of course.
Oops.
Yep.
I had the disappointment of getting deep into the process. I got it into my cart. I got to checkout, and I got nothing. Because while I was checking out, the screen went white, like the website did, and then it reset to you're in the queue, and we don't know how long it's going to be. The website's currently down. Have a good day. Bye.
It's interesting because, like I said, it's happened several times before, though.
I've got my message. It says 9:06 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We are currently experiencing technical issues and will restore the site as soon as possible. You are in line, and once your turn has come up, you will be given 20 minutes to finalize your order. Please note, availability is limited. Don't overspend, and don't buy too much because other people want some. Good luck, bye.
They didn't put a limit on it?
No.
Which is kind of stupid.
I mean, it costs $500.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but, you have online sellers who would buy 4 to 6 of them because they know.
Well, they're already. So there was a purchase bonus for every $250 you spent. You could add a special promo card to your cart, and those cards by themselves were last night were selling for $200 a piece.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's
like the free add-on card was $200.
Well, I'm sure people who are good with programming and stuff that developed a bot, they had a bot that got on there and started buying it. I'm sure. And if you look at some of the online sellers that have this on, I'd be curious to find out how many they have available. Because, you could see like they might have 10 available or 12 available. And that's not fair to a collector like yourself.
Yeah. No, I think one of the things that was interesting was that some of the people that had them listed had like 18 or 20 of the card listed for $200.
18 of the cards?
Yeah, like the individual bonus card, the one you only get for spending $250.
Is it every $250?
Uh-huh.
So if they had 18, divide up,
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That means they spent a good deal of money.
Yeah, which means they have a whole bunch of these things.
That probably 18 of them, because they were $250 for the base.
Well, it was $500 for the set, right?
Yeah.
So if you bought 9 of them, you would get 18 cards.
Yeah.
All right. Right?
9 of the $500 ones?
Right.
Yeah.
So basically you had to spend $4,500. And what are the base sets selling for? $1,000 on the secondary market?
I haven't seen the whole set for sale. The individual cards are like $100 a piece. Let's see. Secret Lair Drop series. We've got $90 for Wolverine.
What's the most expensive card?
They don't have this set as its own, so I'm kind of flipping through them. Let's flip to sort by price. $1,250 for the full bundle.
And you spent $500 for it.
Yeah.
And you're not getting any, and some people got at least 18 of them. Right?
There are 2 currently listed still for sale.
Is it an individual, or is it, they have so many available? One of one, or
It just says 2 for sale.
2 for sale.
Yeah.
So he got 2, you got 0. That's not fair.
Well,
And Wizards has to address this.
the world isn't fair.
Now, Wizards has to address this.
But I was in checkout, man. I got kicked out of checkout.
You got checked out for
I
sure.
got checked out of
You
checkout.
got checked out.
All right, enough lamenting my disappointment. What else did I have for our Magic news today? There was other cool stuff here. The pre-release for Foundations is coming up. And Foundations is cool because you told me that there's a pretty big reprint in Foundations, which is going to drive a lot of interest in buying this product.
Well, one of the bigger cards is Doubling Season.
Yeah.
And Doubling Season, I don't even have an individual card in stock because as soon as it comes in, it goes out. People like that card. And it's a $40 to $50 card, non-foil. If it's a foil, it's $80. So everybody's looking forward to that. I'm not sure what the other cards that are desired in this set. I haven't really paid much attention to it. But everything came in yesterday. And this is going to be this will be a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Because it was shipped from the distributor on Friday. And it was supposed to be here today, which is Tuesday. Lo and behold, I come up the hallway yesterday toward the door, and I see 5 huge boxes standing in front of my doorway. I said, oh, God.
I mean, we're talking about big boxes,
yeah,
too.
I mean,
like
162.
Like bigger than the screen big.
162 pounds worth.
Yeah.
Divided by 5 boxes. So, I mean, the thing is, I can't physically lift that stuff up and bring it into the store. I usually time it in my mind so I know when my UPS driver is going to get here. I'll get here a little bit before she gets here, and as soon as she knocks at the door, we open the door up, and she puts it in where I want it, so I can sit down and unbox all this stuff. But this was all in front of the door, so I think I showed you. I had to use my rollator like a forklift truck, and I rolled the packages down so they were all level, and I started pushing them in the door with the rollator, and I finally got them in. But it's a pain in the neck to do. I mean, it's a hassle, and some of those boxes I just couldn't open. I just rolled them around and was able to lean over and cut them out and cut them open, I should say, and take the product out and put it up on the table. But that's going to be a video in itself. It's still on the table. I started taking it out today, but I didn't get around to doing it all because it's an involved process to put it into inventory.
Well, that's good. That's a pretty exciting release, though. One of the things that we've talked about is the fact that the set's supposed to be relevant for a long time. And so hopefully people are going to be interested in buying a lot of it, and they're going to be interested in buying it for quite a while, right?
Well, Wizards is saying that it's supposed to be available in standard for 5 years, which is pretty impressive. Now, the key word is supposed to. There's no guarantee. They might change. Who knows?
Well, speaking of changes coming from Wizards, they introduced the new Commander format panel this week. After taking over Commander as a format, they have now appointed their 14-person panel. Let me check real quick. We doubled up on this article. But they've picked a bunch of people. They've named them. Not surprisingly, I say that facetiously, some of those people are already people that were on the big decision-making rules committee before. Some of those people have gotten a promotion to being now on the big committee and not just in the advisory panel. And my redirect isn't working, but they've announced it. They're taking over. They've got this group of people who all have agreed to 1-year terms to start with, and they will participate in regularly meeting and discussing the health of the format and making decisions about play and bans and restricteds and format rules and things like that.
Cool. There's a retailer summit next week that I have to sign up for. It's been in the email for quite a while. The only thing is, when you sign up, you have to sign an NDA where you can't discuss what they're talking about. But we'll get a chance to meet Mark Rosewater and the new president of Wizards, and they're going to be talking about future plans. So that's probably why the NDA. You know damn well that the information is going to get out somehow, some way. People are going to know it.
Not from you, though.
No, not from me, but people will divulge that information. And there's 3 of them. There's 3 specific to different time zones, or I'm not time zones, but countries.
Yeah.
And so if I can't make the first one, I can always make the second or third one.
Cool.
So I think I'm going to do it. I don't know how long it's going to take. I think it starts next Tuesday. I have to look at the schedule.
Yeah, double check it. That'd be awesome. Why don't we punt on the last Magic topic that I had this week? It's maybe a bigger discussion that we could have another time, but it was a question about Magic's decision to transition away from their intellectual property or their own storyline and into these Universes Beyond sets with these releases of Final Fantasy and Spider-Man and all the things coming in the next year or so. But we'll pick that up again at another time. Why don't we hit the last 2? I think we only have 2 games left. And then we'll jump over to our main topic. Quick news from Lorcana. Azurite Sea is coming out it is next week. Not this week, but
the
next.
15th.
We're going to have a sealed event in store. We had a really fun time with the last set coming out, and we had a bunch of people come in and play a little sealed tournament, get to know the cards, and have some fun together. My daughter opened an Enchanted during that event, so hopefully we'll continue the luck and pop another Enchanted.
It was a pretty decent one, too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good one. Robin Hood. I like it. It's a cool card. I thought it was interesting. Maybe you have some thoughts on the competition in Europe with card game stores is getting pretty tough. Ravensburger announced they're going to be giving away special promo cards at the movie theaters in Europe for Moana 2.
At the movie theater?
Yeah. So they made a deal with Odeon, which is apparently one of the big theater companies over there. And they're going to, if you have a valid admission to the movie, they will give you, when you come into the movie, you get a Lorcana card.
I'm sure it's going to happen in the United States too. They'll come up with some kind of promotion.
Probably. It'll be in some regionalized theater, though.
You have to wonder why they're coming up with these promotions of that type. What's the basic reason? Is it because sales are possibly declining?
I think it's because if you give somebody one of a thing, they want more of them. And when you give them a single card, particularly people that are interested in Disney or games, and you're like, hey, here's this thing. You want some more? Come buy them.
If we get one of those cards, I'm going to give it to your mother.
Oh, good.
Good. She'll get hooked in the game then.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
All right. That's all I had for Lorcana. Then we can close out Star Wars real quick with a little discussion about quality control. Star Wars released their 3rd set, Twilight of the Republic, this last week. Well, they pre-released it, and then the release date is officially this week.
Right.
But people have been opening boxes on the internet. Lots of boxes have been popped. We've seen some crazy stories. You and I talked about one. Somebody posted on Reddit that they were allegedly at a pre-release. They opened their pre-release kit and 1 box of boosters, and they had 3 showcase leaders out of the 30 packs. So instead of getting 1 in 13 boxes, they're getting 1 in 10 packs out of that.
Yeah, well, he opened up a booster box and a pre-release kit, right? So it's 30 packs.
Yeah,
and he got 3, and the quality itself is poor.
Oh, I saw some more fun ones.
The other one that you showed me the other day, they're sticking together.
Yeah,
they're not black backs. they're blue, dark blue backs in some
Well,
instances.
that was
The shades are
my
different.
personal cards that I opened
Right.
had the printing irregularities.
Hmm.
Then we saw on the internet, you and I looked at the one, completely blank backs
Yeah.
on a set of cards
Yeah.
coming out of a box that somebody opened. And more interestingly, last set we had the issue where people said that their boxes would be mapped, like you could tell which box you had by opening the first few packs. Well, somebody posted on Reddit that they bought 3 boxes, and the first 2 boxes they opened were identical.
Wow. Wow.
Like,
That's interesting.
what? Randomized?
They're shooting themselves in the foot.
They've got like serious quality control problems. A really prominent YouTube group that does Star Wars Unlimited content, they opened up a booster box and half of the cards were like lime green. Like they had like a lime green tint to all the art that was printed on them.
Maybe they're destined for the Bahamas or something like that.
Yeah,
They
I
like
don't know.
that color.
It was interesting.
Yeah, I mean they've got to correct these issues, and they got to do it fast.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to be in deep trouble.
Well, that takes us pretty deep into the episode with some news here, John. Why don't we jump over and talk main topic for today? You wanted to do part 4 and maybe a wrap up on your money and budget discussion about how money affects being able to run and start a card store.
Yeah, I
Where are
mean,
we going today?
all right. Well, again, this is part 4 because the financial aspect of the business is very complex, and I mean that's primarily what you need to nail right at the beginning, and you have to understand all the financial aspects of it because if you don't, you're not going to succeed. And that's why I made it in a 4-part series. And the last part I want to talk about is you can create something effective without spending a lot of money. All right, so when you rent a store, you have to outfit it. You have to put displays in it. You have to put tables in it, and you have to do this. And I see a lot of people spend a lot of money on buying, these premium uh, cases and displays and countertops and things like that.
Yeah, thousands of dollars.
That literally because it's gone up. It's very expensive now. There's a lot of places out there that you can buy used equipment from. Used. There's in this area. There's 2 locations, and they're both owned by the same person. One's in Greensboro, and the other one's in Raleigh. And I've gone there many times and looked to see, what they have. And I bought some hooks from them. I bought some display uh, uh, items like plastic display uh, items. I forgot exactly what the hell they're called, but uh, and then when I first got in the store, I said, "Oh, I need a countertop." Well, I made a countertop. Fortunately, I was handy enough. I had the tools to do it, but even if you got a carpenter to come in to do it, it would still be cheaper to buy the supplies than it would be to buy these prefab uh, pressboard
Mm-hmm.
display cabinets that are going to fall apart.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get any water on it, they're going to seep in and they're going to expand because it's pressed cardboard basically with laminate on each side of it. And they're expensive. They're not cheap. And if you buy new and you don't pick them up and you get them shipped, it's very expensive, especially slatboard.
Yeah.
The slatboard, I mean, you can get it unfinished, you can get it finished, and again, going to this place where these places that I went to, I found it, and they had new slatboard. That they sell new stuff in addition to their closeouts. From what they do is on a used equipment, they'll go to a store like J.C. Penney that was closing down, and they'd liquidate all their fixtures, and they would bring them into their warehouse and sell them that way. That's a great way to outfit your store. And you could be creative. Suppose you needed uh, some bins to put stuff in. Go to the Dollar Tree, buy some plastic milk crates, stack them on top of each other, zip tie them so they don't fall all over. You can use that for temporary storage. It'll look pretty. Uh, you won't have to spend a lot of money, because what you want to do is you want to be able to spend your money on inventory. And I mean, you're going to need an area to put the register on. So you're going to need a checkout counter of some sort. You're going to need maybe some shelving behind you. You can go to yard sales and you can find all kinds of stuff as you go on a Sunday or a Saturday and see what people have. You can repurpose it. You can refinish it. You can paint it. You can spend a hell of a lot less money in doing so. Let me see. What else? All right. When you make more money, then you can invest back into the business. Then you can go and replace it with newer display fixtures. But you don't have to when you first start it.
Well, let me talk about that for a second. Ask you a couple of questions. So, when you say when you make more money, you can invest back into the business, but don't you have the choice whether you invest into more inventory, which you sell to make more money, like starting like that flywheel effect,
Yeah.
or buying a
Yeah.
new table,
Well, I
which you're
mean,
not going to
it,
sell?
it depends. Um, I guess it depends upon the individual. If you want a top shelf, pretty store where everything is new, I mean, that may be your thing, but you don't really need it to be that way. Uh, People like grunge. I mean, my store is presentable. I don't have all the newest equipment or newest fixtures, but it's presentable. The key to it is keep it clean, keep it presentable. Don't have anything broken that's out there that especially could hurt somebody, and be resourceful. If it's your choice, like say you got an extra $1,000 that came in that month, yeah, if you want to replace your tables, go ahead and replace them. I've had these tables that I'm using, and they're picnic tables that I've used. They're plastic picnic tables because I had regular tables and I had regular chairs, and they were kept. Every time I turned around, one was broken because the people that come into the store, they don't care. They lean back in the chair, they'll break a leg, or I'll find the chairs all over the store. At least with the picnic tables, they're fixed in a place.
Yeah,
And I do have a couple of longer tables with chairs with backs on it, but it served me well, and they've been here for 20 something years. And getting back to fixtures, now, I think we spoke about this a long time ago when we first started. There's some stores that I saw on the internet, they spend $1,000 on custom made card displays.
hmm,
You don't need that. I have, and maybe I'll take a picture of what I have in the future, and when I go around the store and do more of a YouTube type thing, and show you exactly what I have in the store and how inexpensive it can be. All I did is I moved some. So the initial two were fitted or outfitted for or measured for this particular space that I had in my old store.
yeah,
And when I moved, I had to compensate for it. But basically, I took a blank wall. I put, I figured out I'm going to make 48-inch, display spaces
yeah,
on the wall, vertical display. So you don't have to worry about taking floor space up. It's on the wall. And all I did was take 2x4s and made a frame. And then I took 1x2s and made a door frame, and I routed it out, or you don't even have to route it out. There's ways of doing it that you can just get the plastic cut, you know, put the plastic on the inside. Uh, we're talking about plastic like plexiglass and stuff like that. And all I did was to hold the cards in place. Do you ever see in the bathrooms where they have these panels that go together?
yeah.
These seam things. That's all they are. I
Ah,
got them at the Home Depot, and I cut them to size, put double face tape on it, slapped it up on the wall. Made sure they were level.
yeah,
And I think all of those displays, and what do I have? 8 of them now out there.
yeah.
Yeah, 8. Probably cost me less than $400 to make.
That's good.
Yeah,
I mean, but I think that's a good point to make, and for people to understand that you have the ability to make and use things. If you're able to put in not dollars, but like effort, you can get really affordable, good looking things for the store.
right. You got to be resourceful
Yeah.
and think outside the box. And the last thing I want to talk about is your inventory budget. It's all about balance. Uh, Deciding how much money you want to spend on inventory is a tough decision. Now, a lot of stores have a lot of back stock. And but backstock to me, excessive amounts of backstock is money.
Yeah.
It's money on the shelf that's not selling, especially if it's an expensive item. Uh, if you have something that's $80 and somebody comes in and buys it, maybe you have one more in the back room or on the shelf behind you that you could put in its place. But would it make any difference to have 10 of these things sitting in the back room? No, no, because you got to look and you got to anticipate if it's going to sell. How long did it take for you to sell that one? Why would you want to get so much backstock? And you don't want to risk having stale product or things that are not going to sell eventually. I've heard of stores and I've seen stores that have closed because they had so much product they couldn't sell it, and they owed the distributor so much money that they went under. They declared bankruptcy or whatever they had to do to pay off their distributor, so they wouldn't get sued.
Yeah. I
Um,
looked at a video from one of the big sports card stores on YouTube, and they were talking about how much they try to turn over their inventory. And I think they were talking like 40 to 50% of their inventory a week is they're trying to sell. Like half of what they have on hand, they want it to leave the store, and they try to replace like every week. And they're selling, I mean, their stores mostly, they sell sealed product, but most of their sales floor is singles cards, huge display sections of single
is
cards.
that the card show shop in Atlanta?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The $4 million card shop.
Yeah. The $4 million shop needs to turn over 50% of its inventory, active inventory a week in order to continue to stay open.
I wonder how much inventory they actually have on hand. I know that the store is a $4 million store,
Yeah.
but that included the build out and everything else to get into the store. But I'm curious. I'm sure they got maybe $1 million or more in inventory,
Yeah.
so they have to go through at least $500,000 a week, $750,000 a
I'm pretty
week.
sure that's what he said on the video that I watched the other day.
That's crazy.
They were doing a behind the scenes discussion about how do they manage like keeping it. I mean, and they want the store to look full. So they've got staff that their job is to go in the back and get the box of slabs out and bring them out and fill in the gaps when people buy.
They must have deep pockets.
I mean, they do. I mean, that's why they
and investors.
Well, the guy that owns it was very well off when he built it.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he financed the whole thing himself, I think.
Okay. All right. Well, getting back to what I'm going to talk about, you got to use your inventory management system. You have to have an inventory management system. You just can't do it the old way. Like when I first got started, it was kind of a gut feeling. I mean, now because I've been doing it so long, I know what's on the shelves. I know pretty much what I need to order. And what I do is I place small orders and to find the sweet spot. I guess that's for the lack of a better term, uh, where I have what I need without spending too much money on stale inventory or backstock. And my philosophy is, I'll give you for instance, with Star Wars, I was allocated 36 boxes of play boosters. I took 12. I wanted to see because it's a tenuous situation with Star Wars right now. I wanted to make sure that I could sell through those 12 boxes. I can always get more. It may be at a higher price, but I don't care. Or those 12 might not sell. And then I was 24 I didn't take. And, I'd rather have the distributor sit with them than me sitting with them because that's inventory that's not going to sell. And I don't have deep pockets.
Yeah.
Um, I'm saying a lot. You're going to have to edit that out. Let me see.
I thought we stopped editing those.
Oh, yeah, you don't have to edit. It's just me.
They
All
make
right,
it
take
seem more
advantage
real.
of vendor deals, especially discounts, free freight, and extending dating on credit terms. It's a great way to make your money go further. For instance, Southern Hobby has Black Friday sales, and every couple of days they're going to put up new products, and they're going to add to this list. So it's going to be a perpetual list until the sale is over. And it's primarily they're starting with some of the obscured products that they probably want to get rid of, but there's some good stuff in there. And if I didn't have a lot of sleeves in stock, Dragon Shields, for instance, they're on sale. I would get some Dragon Shields, and I still might get some Dragon Shields from it. It's not a big discount, but it's still an offering, and every little bit, even if it's a couple pennies that you save, it's worthwhile.
Yeah.
And I always look for free freight, and a lot of distributors right now have a minimum amount that you have to buy, and I make sure that I'll hold an order until next week so I can accumulate enough of an order where I get free freight.
Yeah.
Freight's expensive. And we talked about this again once before. Most of the distributors are adding a handling charge now. And it could be anywhere from $5 up to $7.50. And I asked, one of my sales reps one time, what the hell is this $7.50 for?
Mm-hmm.
Well, because we have to pay for the boxes. We have to pay for the dunnage paper. And I said, well, you don't have to get printed boxes because that costs you more money. And he started laughing. He said, well, that's what the company decided to do. But yeah, every order, no matter what, has a handling charge on it, even if it's free shipping.
Yeah.
And as far as extending credit terms, I don't have credit with my distributors. Fortunately, I'm able to put it on one of my credit cards, and I get 1.5% back if I pay through my credit card, which helps with the extra charges that I get. But you may be on terms with the distributor. You have to pay the balance in 30 days.
Yeah.
Well, you may be able to work a deal that you don't have to pay it in 45 days or 60 days. And if you could do that, that's fine. However, don't spend that money because that bill's going to eventually have to be paid.
Right.
So, yeah, you just can't do it. I mean, you got to be very careful when you do it. And let's say the last thing, above all, be aware of market trends. Don't get into something that, number one, you don't know about or it's trendy. The fidget spinners.
Yeah.
Remember the fidget spinners? A lot of stores, and Southern Hobby had them. They were selling them.
Uh-huh.
And I took one display. I think there was 24 of them, and the fidget spinners went out just like that.
Are they still hanging around in here somewhere?
No, I donated them
okay.
to a church group. I think I might have one there in the back that
That's pretty funny.
Mess around with. But I think I sold out of the 24, maybe 6 or 7 of them. And I was giving them to some of the kids that came into the store, some of the younger kids just to play around with.
Yeah.
But if I had gotten,
100 of them.
Oh God, that would have been no good.
I mean, you get a quarter off if you buy them at 100 quantity.
Yeah, that's true. That's another thing that, if you buy, instead of $1,000, if you spend $1,500, you'll get a better price. Well, that extra $500 that you spend may not be product that you can sell. So don't get duped into stuff like that because they're salespeople.
Yeah.
You have to. Fortunately, the guys I deal with are people of integrity, and the girl I deal with, she has integrity. But I'm sure there's people out there. Oh yeah, you got to take this. It's a one-time deal. We have a limited number of them. You got to take it now.
Got to take it now.
Yeah, because they have sales quotas, and they're going to try to push all this kind of stuff on you.
They have an incentive to.
Right, and
Just
once you have it, it's yours. It's sitting on your shelf. All right, well, that's it for today as far as my topics for today.
I think it's helpful. I think it's a good place to wrap up a long financial discussion that we've had over a couple of weeks. All right, let's jump into our 3 E's section. For those of you that are new to the podcast, John and I like to share stuff that is not specifically gaming related, and we do that by our 3 E's, which are educate, enlighten, and entertain. And John usually brings us something fun from the world of the internet that will help us become a little bit brighter. What do you got for us today, John?
It's not a Snapple fact.
I left that out of the little intro because I suspected that.
Okay, good. What I want to talk about is daylight savings time.
Oh, I'm
And,
tired already.
and today is election day, so it's November 5th. Daylight savings time went into effect on Sunday at, what the heck was it, 2 o'clock or something like that. Uh, and just I just highlighted some facts of something that I printed out. No, it was not started to help farmers, and Benjamin Franklin did not invent it. Okay? So why do we do this whole time shift anyway? It turns out it's way more complicated than you may think. Here's what you need to know about falling back in November and springing forward next spring. Uh, Again, daylight saving time ends for the year on Sunday, November 3rd, 2024. Let's see. Why 2 o'clock? The thought behind the early morning swap is pretty simple. According to live science, most people are expected to be already at home and in bed, and that time won't bother many bars or restaurants. It also likely doesn't affect those who have early shifts at work. So that's why it's at 2 o'clock. Uh, and again, I mentioned no, it wasn't started to help farmers. In fact, according to Time magazine, the farm lobby campaigned aggressively against daylight savings time. That's because it gave them one less hour in the morning to milk their cows and send their crops to market. Farmers in the U.S. lobbied successfully to stop daylight saving time after World War I, and it wouldn't go back into effect until the next World War. Let's see. What else is important? Um, and they talk about, does it conserve energy? It really doesn't. Between January 1974 and April 1975, the country went into daylight saving time year round to combat the energy crisis. In 2005, Congress passed a law that extended daylight savings time by a month to keep energy costs down. The thinking behind these government mandates is daylight saving time saves energy on lighting, but the theory doesn't bear out. A 2008 study uh, found that daylight savings time raised energy bills for households in Indiana by 1%, adding up to an annual $2 million extra. The culprit, daylight saving time, overlaps with the hottest months, and the time shift leads to increased cooling costs that outweighs savings on lighting. Um, it's more recent in the United States than you think. The Chicago Tribune reports that Woodrow Wilson first made it into law in 1918, but it was repealed 7 months later. Though President Franklin Delano Roosevelt relaunched it in 1942, the time change wasn't official until 1966 when President Lyndon Johnson signed a law to make daylight savings time uniform start and end dates across the country. However, not everybody observes it. Arizona, for instance, does not observe it, but the Navajo Nation in Arizona observes it.
Yeah.
All other people that
It's
don't,
got to be special.
yeah, I mean, other people that don't observe it is Hawaii, Puerto Rico, American Samoa, Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. They don't recognize daylight savings time. And around the world, only 70 countries actually observe it. Um, and it could be bad for your health.
Could be.
That's what the last part of this article. According to The Atlantic, which is another magazine, I'm sure it's online now too, the time shift might be detrimental to people who suffer from seasonal affective disorder, a depression that kicks in when seasons change. That because it changes your sleep cycle, and it turns out the change could even be linked to higher risk of heart attacks, car accidents, and even malfunctioning medical equipment. But it could cut down on crime. In 2015 study by the Brookings Institute showed that when daylight saving time began in the spring, robbery rates drop, especially in the early evening when people head home from work. The thinking is that the extra evening daylight serves as a detriment. That's all I have for
There you
this.
go.
Interesting?
Yeah. I don't have anything cool to share other than my rhino story from last week. So
Well, um, we're going to talk. We're going to change this format a little bit. Correct? Are we going to let everybody know about that?
I don't think we're going to change the podcast format.
Well, no, not the podcast, but we're going to put more
We got some
uh,
ideas.
hands-on stuff that we're going to put on YouTube.
Yeah, we got some ideas. We're
Okay.
going to talk about some of that on our Patreon segment today.
Okay.
So let's wrap it up. Thank you guys for joining us on Card Shop Insiders. We are grateful for your support and listening. And if you like the show, please like, subscribe, and follow us on the different platforms. Our podcast can be found on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. You can also follow us on social media at Card Shop Insiders on Instagram and X, where we are doing a little bit of our new attempt to be more interesting there. We'd like to acknowledge our Patreon patrons, Ben, Grant, Brandon, Logan, Drayden, Jake, Brian, and Michael. Thank you so much for supporting our efforts. If you want to interact with the show or have any questions about what you'd like to see covered in future episodes, please head over to YouTube and share a comment on our latest episode. And finally, if you are able, willing, and interested to contribute to the show financially, please join up on Patreon, where our basic tier subscription includes behind-the-scenes content and an extended video that releases earlier than the YouTube video and podcast episodes, and includes us discussing strategy for this podcast and the show. Sometimes it includes us discussing other topics about the store or about the gaming industry, and often it includes us doing other off-topic discussions. Until next time, go Tar Heels, and thank you.
Go Tar Heels? Are you kidding me? Since Noah was so verbose and decided to extend it, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.